Welcome back, Petapixel viewers. It is Chris Nichols here. Got a bit of a different video for you today. Why am I surrounded by all of these Sigma lenses? Well, that's because as a working professional, I think this might be all you need. No, this is not a Sigma ad, although Kazuto-san, it might be the greatest photographic CEO of all time history, the GOAT. We're just saying this because we just want Kazuto-san to like us. Please just like us. Okay, so why are we actually here? Well, the impetus for this video is that I've played with a lot of these Sigma lenses, tested them out, reviewed them, and they've been very impressive optically. And so then I had a thought in my head. I was like, well, could a working professional, budget aside, not considering money as an issue, objectively decide to use Sigma lenses as their preference? I think this is also a timely video because look, a lot of these Sigma formulas have been available for L mount and Sony E mount for many, many years, but it looks like Nikon Z mount's opening up, and if you're a Canon shooter, well, there's a lot of talk that that lens mount might open up as well, which is going to make these even more significant to more people. Now in L mount, there's not as much competition. I think the Sigmas really shine well, but I wanted to talk about this in terms of Sony E mount because here you've got a lot of great glass for the Sigma to compete with. And what I want to do today is talk about what I would choose myself of the lenses that I've used if I was going to make my own Sigma kit. Okay, so my first pick here is going to be a prime. It's the Sigma 14mm f1.4. This is a great example of a lens where I would actively choose this over anything else available on the market right now. Because not only is this lens really bright at f1.4, it's astoundingly good shooting wide open, but it's also specifically corrected for astrophotography. I love the image quality, I love the build quality, I like the way they made the tripod here, and it has become my favorite astrophotography lens. In fact, taking this off to Milk River or off to Idaho on our trip there, I found myself inspired way more to do astrophotography because of this very optic. All right, the next lens that I would absolutely want to have in the kit is the Sigma 50mm Art Series f1.2. Now, I don't normally go for f1.2 lenses because they're usually really expensive and really heavy and bulky, but this is very much following the same lines as the Sony G Master 50mm 1.2. It's compact and easy to take anywhere with you. Now, the Sony G Master f1.2 is a beautiful lens. I have nothing bad to say about it, but this lens gives me incredibly good optical performance shooting wide open at f1.2. I actually prefer the look of the bokeh here a little bit better on this Sigma, and at the same time I'm paying way less money. This isn't a case of getting a budget lens. This is a case of getting something which is equally good optically but just paying way less for it, so that makes this an easy win. So far the primes that I've talked about are doing very specialized things, whether they're ultra bright or they're made for astrophotography with an ultra wide range. But this next prime is just something that I always love to have with any kit, and that's the 85mm 1.4 Art Series, because this gives me that shallow depth of field for portrait work, and I really do like the versatility of 85s over something more in the 100mm range, because it's also really nice for head and shoulders, as well as standing shots or even couples shots. Now when it comes to fast 85mm primes, we really haven't seen a lot of new formulas in recent years. I mean, even the Sigma Art is getting a little bit long in the tooth, but really the only competition for 1.4s is the Sony G Master 85mm 1.4. It has beautiful bokeh, but it also has some chromatic aberration problems. It's not very sharp at 1.4, and I actually prefer the way that the Sigma looks optically. Panasonic do make a really nice 85mm 1.8, and it's light and it's affordable, but if I'm going to go for more specialized tools for professional work, I do want to have the shallowest depth of field as an option when I want it. Now, I say all this knowing that Canon and Nikon have amazingly good 85mm f1.2s, but as it stands now, Sigma and those mounts just aren't going to be competing. And really, the Sony G Master could any day be updated. I'm sure it'll be fantastic and beautiful. But right now, as the market stands, whether you're an L mount user or an E mount user, I really feel like the Sigma 85mm Art is the way to go. Okay, so primes are great for certain specialized situations, but I do prefer zooms for general photography, and everybody should have a 24-70 f2.8. But I am going to go here a little bit differently. I mean, Sigma make an excellent lens, but if I had my choice, I would still personally go with the 24-70 G Master from Sony, the second version. It's an awesome lens, compact, beautiful optically, and I do think it's worth the extra money. That all being said, the Sigma 24-70, which sadly I don't have anymore, is a fantastic lens as well. It could absolutely work as a professional's go-to everyday lens. I mean, the Sigma 24-70 f2.8 is so good that even a famous company like Leica decided to make a very similar lens. I mean, similar like related similar, like blood related, like like the Olsen twins related, like, they got the same parents and they were born in the same time out of the same womb and they're genetically identical. And although they have separate business interests, they're both millionaires. You know what I mean? Okay. So you get I'm getting at. I mean, they're basically the same lens. And I really do like the images I get from the Leica 24-70 as well as the Sigma 24-70. So yes, I would personally choose the Sony G Master if I, just had my own options there. But the 24-70 f2.8, any working photographer would be happy to use it. Okay, so every working professional has to have a 70-200 2.8, right? And here's the Sigma version. Well, honestly, this is one lens that it's good optically. It's just not my favorite. It doesn't really blow me away. And because this is my list, I'm just going to put this down here and we'll never speak of it again. Because what I actually prefer more so is the Sigma 100-400. Now, this is a contemporary series lens, not part of the art series that we've seen so far, but beautifully made, still very rugged. I like how lightweight it is and how versatile it is. And on full frame, I can afford the slightly darker apertures here. I feel like the 24-70 and the 85mm will cover me for some of my short telephoto ranges, so I'm happy to have the versatility here, which can take me through not just sports, but even like wildlife pursuits, which I really enjoy. And speaking of wildlife, this brings us to our last lens. Yes, I know it's a prime again, but it is the longest focal length we're talking about. It's the Sigma 500mm f5.6 DGDN. I mean, this thing is so lightweight and so easy to carry around, but more importantly, it's optically fantastic. Really blew me away when I first tried it, using this on wolf dogs and other kinds of wildlife, ravens, Jordan's favorite bird. Oh! Yeah, but the 500mm is just this perfect example again of how Sigma can build lenses which are easily equal to or better than the first-party manufacturer's lenses, and I would happily choose this every single time if I wanted a nice, compact, but long-distance lens for wildlife and sports. Okay, so there's your lineup of lenses there. I mean, just pretend the red dot's a 24-70 f2.8 art series lens. These are the ones that I've used, and I've loved all of these lenses and the images that I've gotten from them. And more importantly, I don't feel like I've been compromised in any way, shape, or form using the lenses we've talked about today. But in the end, it doesn't really matter what Sigma lenses I chose. They make fantastic lenses across the whole board. I mean, about the only thing they don't really make yet are fast telephoto lenses, but I prefer stuff like 500mm 5.6s anyways, just because they're so much lighter and easier to carry. Companies like Tamron have also made a good effort. I mean, they got some fantastic lenses, some fantastic zooms, but I don't feel like they still make as complete a setup as Sigma, especially when it comes to professional fast prime lenses. Now, because we were talking about Sony E-mount as our comparison here, I do have to point out that any third-party lenses on Sony bodies will not support faster than 15 frames per second shooting with continuous autofocus tracking on the bodies that can actually go faster than 15 frames per second. Again, that's not a huge limitation, and I don't really know if that's a third-party lens's fault or really that's something that Sony is imposing. Regardless, this is the first time that I found a lens mount where I would happily use all of their lenses, and I think that's what's very fascinating about this. I'm not doing it because I want to save money, and I'm not doing it because I'm willing to accept certain sacrifices or compromises. The fact is, I am going to get a very professional kind of kit that covers many different kinds of photography, and well, you know what? On top of that, I probably am going to save some money anyways. I hope you guys enjoyed our little experiment here. Please leave your comments below. Let us know your input, what you think about third-party manufacturers. We're only going to see more and more of these lenses available from more and more camera mounts, and I think that's a really exciting and a very positive thing. Also, do check out the Petapixel podcast. It's on this exact same channel, or all your favorite podcasting apps. Just search for Petapixel Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you soon with more on Petapixel.